everyone. I bet you have no idea what day it is because yesterday I had a blackout at my house and there was no lockdown lunch, so you couldn't tell what day it was. Just kidding, you're probably fine. Welcome to Lockdown Lunch with me, Kelly Ransom. I'm coming to you live from Boston, specifically Roslindale. I am so sorry about yesterday. The power went out at like midnight. It was supposed to come back on at 9, and then it was a mess. I was a mess, but we're all back here together today. If you are new to this broadcast, thank you for tuning in now or later. I started this 6,782 days ago when we went into the stay-at-home order here in Boston. Because of COVID-19, and I wanted to share people's stories because this is weird and put them all in a time capsule so that we can hopefully all laugh about it someday. If you have any questions during this broadcast, you can leave a comment on Facebook and maybe we'll get to it. Who knows? It's live. So everyone, please, I want to welcome today the specialist guest of all guests that I've had so far. Mr. Glenn Williams.
Kelly, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, thank you.
You having deja vu?
Yeah, and it's Tuesday. Here we are. You know, it's okay.
Yes, thank you.
It's Tuesday. And Kelly, thank you so much for inviting me on. We're kind of switching the roles here a little bit from what we're new and what we've known and used to. Kelly, I don't know if people know, she used to be the co-host of a show I did here in Boston, and I was very proud of those times.
Yes, 21 years.
Yeah.
I wasn't on for 21 years. You were.
Yes, I was. So what's new?
I've learned everything that I know right now about what we're doing from you, so thank you.
Except for keeping the electricity on. What happened? Just a fluky thingy?
They had a planned outage. And but it was supposed to be Sunday into Monday, and that happened. And apparently they didn't figure it all out during then, so they did it again. And then it lasted till about 12:30 yesterday.
I'm sorry about that.
It's all right. It's fine. It's just like a pandemic. It's no big deal. So for those of you who are not familiar with Mr. Glenn Williams, he's a million things, including the voice of Roslindale, which maybe we'll talk about in a little bit, and the general manager of Boston Neighborhood Network. So we'll talk a lot about what that is in a few, but I need to know, because I ask everyone, how did this entire situation go down for you personally?
Well, you know, one of the things about Boston Neighborhood Network is that we're so community oriented. We're working in the community. We have a lot of our people out in the community filming different events, interviewing different people, covering different things and stuff, and people coming into the studio and working in the studios, producing programming, interviewing people in 2 different television studios and a radio station, and all of a sudden, bang, that all had to stop. Everything was gone, and we obviously had backlogs of programming to put on and things like that. But we also relied heavily on a lot of our producers who are producing outside. Many years ago, the reason why people would come to the studio was because they didn't have an outlet to be able to express themselves. The freedom of speech wasn't able to be exercised as freely as people were feeling. So PEG Access came along, just to make a long story short.
I love long stories.
In order to plug a cable into your house to get you all of those big cable stations and stuff, they turned around and told different municipalities that they would make these PEG Access stations. PEG means public, for the people to come in soapbox. Education is the E, and G is government, where you get to kind of sit in on city council meetings and all of that, you know. So they did that, and it was for freedom of speech and all that stuff. So people would flock to the studios to produce their programming and stuff. But as technology often catches up with us, sorry, my phone keeps ringing.
It's fine. Glenn is an essential personnel, so he is at work right now.
And I'm sitting in my office. What ends up happening is as technology caught up with us, we all know that there are kids doing programming as good as quality as us, high definition at home in their bedrooms on their tablets. So a lot of programming was coming in from outside, but there was still that whole thing coming to the studio and being in the studio, the lights, the cameras, someone counting you down, and all of that jazz that was taken away.
Yeah.
And mainly taken away was the ability for us to take the truck out to do any of the festivals or do any of the parades or any of the races or anything that was happening around the city. So that was all cut off. And we kind of sat around here going, okay, we've got to come up with something, because we were considered essential personnel because we're the media.
Right.
You know, so we're getting the word out and we're covering all the mayor's events and all of his speeches and stuff. And one day, right at the beginning, someone from the Boston Public Schools called and asked me if I would put a flyer up on the station to let kids know that there was going to be this, there was going to be that. And I said, let's go better than that.
Yeah.
Let's get some programming up here. Let's get some shows from different teachers that we can carry, because the percentage of kids that are sitting at home with zero bandwidth and no ability and no access to the internet or things like that was kind of staggering. So what we said was, I said, well, you know, the opportunity for basic cable is there, so let's get some programming on the station so that the kids can at least tune into that. And it's grown from that to we have preschool classes here.
Wow.
We're doing preschool classes virtually. Right now upstairs is a math teacher who is going through middle school and high school algebra and stuff for kids that can call in and ask, hey, I don't get it. And he'll stop and kind of go through the stages. So we've got 3 teachers that are doing that. We got a high school cat that's teaching them and getting them ready for their AP exams. Middle school middle school woman who is teaching all the stuff that kids are missing now. You know, they're getting into their Chrome classrooms and stuff and doing all of that stuff. But now they can go after the Chrome classroom, go to the TV, call up and ask the teacher in detailed question. And up at elementary school, and that's all live. So we're doing that.
It's a great resource.
Yeah, and we're doing all of the other classes that are sending in preschool arts, a lot of art classes, a lot of science classes. And what we've discovered is our VODs have tripled. We've got almost 3,000 VODs from kids coming back and logging back into those programs. So it's working. That's kind of what's taken over our focus. But not only that, we're also covering. This is Haitian month, and we had a live.
It's the Flag Day or something.
Yeah, we had a live program Sunday, and they had people from all over the country, all over the world, that logged in Zoomy like this and talked about their Haitian heritage and different things for almost an hour and a half.
That's amazing.
Live on Sunday, yeah, and we're right now talking about finding a way to bring Gay Pride back. So for the month of June, we're planning a bunch of programming for Gay Pride Week month. And I just got off the phone with Linda and all of those cats over at the pretzel factory, whatever it is.
I will be glued to my screen.
We're working on some things. It's gonna so that's, you know, that has kept me going, because I come in every day.
Right.
Like I told you before, I worked right through a vacation week I was supposed to take all of a sudden, and I go, well, what happened?
That's not healthy.
I know. But I'll get it off.
So when it's not a pandemic,
Yeah.
for those of people who are not familiar, what does the general manager of Boston Neighborhood Network do? What is that role?
Right. Well, generally it's that. It's a lot of what we just talked about.
Yeah.
Initiating those kinds of ideas, passing around, making sure people understand the different focus, letting people know what our mission is. You know, when I took over general manager, and I dared anybody to walk down any of the city streets in Boston and ask people what BNN stood for, and if 3 people out of the 10 you asked came close, I would have been surprised. So the object of the game from when I took over almost a year ago was to get people to understand and recognize that Boston Neighborhood Network isn't this club. It isn't this closed place. It's something that is for citizens of the city of Boston to come in and voice their opinion, learn how to use Final Cut Pro, learn how to use all of those gadgets that make videos and make programming, and do it.
Right.
And it's turned into, we're getting the word out now. Our social media has gone through the sky, and I think those numbers are really, really important.
Yes.
It wasn't being used to its capacity because everybody had a lot of jobs. Everyone had a lot of responsibilities. So I for one have some things that I can do. So I can do some editing. I can do some of this. I can do some social networking. I can do all that. So I do that to make sure that people understand. I also get involved in a lot of nonprofits in the community where I can assure them that they have a voice here as well. This is also a place where nonprofits can come and talk about their mission statement, get people to get involved in their mission and join whatever the clause is in. And
there's a radio station too, right?
WBCA 102.9 Boston's community radio.
I just wanted to hear you do that. And so you're managing a TV station and a radio station, essentially.
TV stations and a radio station,
and classes for people who want to learn.
Classes, and an art gallery and all that jazz.
Oh my goodness.
So that's kind of my day gig now. When I left Sacred Heart over a year ago, I came here to run the radio station. So I was running just the radio station for a little while, and they decided they wanted to get somebody, so they put it out, and about 15 or 20 people threw their names into a hat, and I was very, very fortunate that they decided to talk to me, and they found that I could help the station and the cause, and so that's my mission.
It's been a year?
Huh?
It's been a year?
It's been over a year.
Oh my God.
I know, huh? What happened?
It's like, I just want to say hi to some people watching right now. Janice, Cassie, Dimitri, Joel, Susan, Kevin, Sam, Aaliyah, and Nicole. Hello, thank you for tuning in. I love this Facebook Live option of seeing
names. Hi guys.
Who's there? So when you're not running a TV radio station, classroom, all of this stuff, you're an artist yourself, right?
Man.
So I'm wondering, I've had a few artists on the show, and I have to ask, have you been creating during this time? Have you been inspired? Has any music come out?
Super producer Janice will tell you, when I get home, I'm either in a grouchy kind of mood or tired or exhausted. But we sit down, have a cup of tea, and then I kind of, join the human race again. It's not that bad, but she'll tell you it is. It's not really not that bad. And when we sit and we talk, we ask how the fabulous one's doing. We kind of sit and have dinner together. And I make it a point to whatever I'm watching up in my man cave, if I'm watching black and white Addams Family shows from the 60s or whatever, I have my guitar with me and I always tool around a little bit.
Good.
I'm playing every day still. It's not to the extent with my brother in arms in rock and roll, Tim Casey and I, but we're doing some virtual things because the whole crowd of us have digital performer on our Macs at home, so we can kind of share projects and stuff.
That's great.
So we're doing that. I haven't done any visual work in a long time, Kelly. It's just that I don't have I'm one of these start and can't stop till I'm finished.
I get that.
So if I walk away from it, I don't want to do that. And the hours are few.
I'm sure Janice is creating enough visual art for the two of you.
Amazing stuff. Hey, we had one of these virtual things for either my brother-in-law or somebody. And someone asked me, what was it like, now that the whole thing has started. I am discovering what it's like to work 9 to 5 Monday through Friday and having a whole Saturday and a whole Sunday off. Because usually it's Saturday, I'll be down the square most of the day at the Farmers Market, or Sunday, I'll be at the church because I'm the youth choir director and all of that. So it ends up being, now I have these 2 whole days off. And
that's exciting. I've never known you to have any of that.
Yeah, I was saying how groovy it was.
Hopefully you will learn that it is important.
not that I could ever really give up that other stuff, you know, but because I mean, the farmers market is so important. It means so much to me. And of course, those kids, now that I'm not teaching in a classroom, they're like my own real connection to being able to work with children in the arts and stuff. So,
yeah.
But
Tess
right
says
now,
hi, and Aaliyah says she thinks that you're the last person she hugged.
oh, that's right.
Yeah, the farmers market. I guess I mean, I know it's still happening, but it's not.
Yeah.
You're not going to be the
yes, they
serving
have
as the voice of Roslindale, huh?
Brushed me aside. You listening, Aaliyah, with you? I was the last person to hug. You know what? Brushed aside. No, they're making it so that people can get their veggies. There's a two-sided scale here. One of the things is the farmers need to come and get and put their produce in their stuff.
Absolutely.
You know, I think that whole cycle needs to happen. And the other thing that it takes away is one of the things I was the proudest about the farmers market wasn't people coming down necessarily buying grapes or getting cider or you know, getting whatever the things they needed. But it was also an opportunity for people to stand there and talk to their neighbors and share experiences. And sometimes it was the only time during the week they would see these people. And that part is devastating, I think. You know, the rock and roll will always be there. You know, the bands will always come back and stuff. But that camaraderie, that whole Rosy Square with 2 S's thing, you know, it's a big deal for people to be able to stand there with their carriages and their kids running around in the park and catching up, all that jazz. I'll miss.
It's like 1,000 people. It's like
more. We had some days there on a beautiful Saturday where we'd get 2,000 people coming through, you know, and me sitting in the middle of it, making all kinds of noise.
Under your little tent.
Under my little tent.
Well, I just keep telling myself it's 1 year, it's one summer, it's not forever.
No.
Of course,
I can't wait for that reunion.
You know, in the new normal, but
I can't wait to give Aaliyah a hug either. I mean, it's going to be one of those reunion things where we've got all this time to catch up with, and you know, she's got a beautiful baby boy that's going to be in high school by the time I see them. Her and her husband are just, you know, at least they got this really groovy, cool, groovy kids. A couple of little kids running around, you know.
I'm sure she's got her hands full. I know she has her hands full. I'm going to have Aaliyah on here someday to hear about.
You should, because I'll tell you, the work that woman is doing for Roslindale is underappreciated. You know, I think not enough people know about it. Not enough people are in tune to what Main Streets actually does, you know. And
I know you love talking about it, so if you'd love to enlighten us.
Well, I don't know that much about Main Street.
Oh, jeez. For those of you who don't know, Glenn and I work together still when we are able to have events for Roslindale Village Main Street.
That's right.
We're the ones sometimes on stage with the microphones making jokes.
The tree lighting, the egg hunt, the taste of Roslindale's. When they
Save the Square.
Savor the Squares. It's always fun. It's always
so many things. But what is Main Streets for those?
Well, Main Streets is that volunteer organization. Here's my spiel. You know,
I feel like I could do it word for word.
I bet I can. Let's see. Main Streets is the volunteer organization that it's driven by volunteers in the community that help revitalize business districts. They have a committee that actually works with design that helps new businesses move into their space and have the proper kind of, you know, mystique and how they look and what have you. They have a promotions committee which advertises openings and different events and things that are going on around the area. Economic development was something that they were working on before, making sure that you keep, you know, it's not a bad thing. I think it's a great thing that most of the stores down in Rosy Square are mom and pop stores.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to be the odds of you running into somebody who runs a small storefront at the village market or at a restaurant in the square are very high because they're your neighbors and they're people that live in your community, you know?
Right.
Then there's the farmers market group, which obviously it's a year-round endeavor to be the best farmers market in New England. So it takes a whole year of of dedication, and Steve is all over that, along with a great committee of people who are dedicated to making sure that we're keeping everybody fresh and keeping things that the community needs inside. You know what else the design committee does is they also work on how we look as a village, as a square. You know, one of the advantages Roslindale has is we're not lineal. We're not a lineal program. It's not like Center Street or Jamaica Plain. You can park. Yes, you can park in front of the village market and you can walk the entire square and come back to your car. You know, you can't do that without walking up one. Huh?
You see your neighbors usually.
You see your neighbors and you see it and everybody. So, you know, and I'll end it with, if you see somebody in a Main Street t-shirt, make sure you thank them, please. Because they're doing it only because they love their community.
Just like you. It's so good to hear you do that spiel. So, as we mentioned before, Glenn is an artist. Janice's wife is an artist. There's an art gallery at B&N. Art is very, very important. He used to be an art teacher.
Yes.
And I know it's important to you for other people to be artful. So do you have any suggestions on how people can be a little more artful in their lives right now if they're maybe stuck at home?
You know, I don't think that the biggest problem I think some people have when they say, oh, I want to try this, I want to try that, is they start to compare themselves with other people, you know? I think that creating art and being an artist or being artful or any of those things is a therapeutic step in kind of keeping oneself calm and keeping oneself in touch with yourself. You sit and you doodle and you draw and you kind of spill some paint and stuff and come back to it later and like it and hang it up and all of that kind of thing. It's always been a necessity in Janice in my life, you know, because of it's what I call the international language. You know, there's nothing that nobody can look at. It's beyond communication. A beautiful sunset, a mother holding her baby, you know, all of these things are universal. You get it, you dig it, you see it, you recognize it. And it's the one binding thing that we have with each other is the trigger of that emotion, the trigger of compassion, the trigger of love, you know, the trigger of fear, the trigger of anger. All of that is universal. Everybody, when they see a devastating picture of a kid being taken away from what he loves, everybody has the same gut feeling and reaction to that. And if you're sharing how you feel with a piece of paper, not the public necessarily, but a piece of paper or a canvas or a guitar or whatever, you're kind of exercising your feelings and your emotions and recognizing them. Why did I paint that? Why did I sing that? And I think it keeps us grounded.
I mean, in a way, everyone is an artist somewhere.
Everyone's an artist. It's just that some of us haven't been discovered yet, you know, and that's all. You know,
that's a great way of putting it.
Everybody has the ability to put, you know, some kind of drawing down. When I had kids, I'd have a kid walk up to me in second or third or first grade and show me something they were so proud of. And they didn't want my recognition. They didn't want my approval. They wanted to show off, look what I did, you know? Aww. And just the look on my face and the appreciation that they would share that with me was enough. And because I taught preschool through the 8th grade, and for how long I did it, I had kids that were graduating in the 8th grade that I'd had since preschool.
You get to watch the whole spectrum.
Watch the whole process. And every one of them, when they got to the middle school ages and stuff, considered themselves artists and walked around with portfolios and felt free to share all of this stuff. Not because of me, but because of maybe that look I gave them in the 2nd grade. Or maybe, you know, I didn't say, hey, that's not a straight line. Hey, no.
And that's why art is important, period. Yeah. And it should be taught in schools everywhere.
Will be taught.
I am grateful that I had arts programming.
Yeah.
When I was growing up in school, I wasn't good at it, but I did it, and it's definitely.
What did you say?
Huh?
What did you say? You weren't good at it?
I'm not good. I'm not a good visual artist.
Okay.
I wasn't good. I didn't do well. I think I got C's.
You're a baker. Well, I want to talk to that teacher. C.
I did like my photo class. I did photo class. That was fun. There was a lot. There was a lot of art classes for me growing up, which is great.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, you know something. What they do is they enhance other subjects as well. They
Exactly,
give you the opportunity to critically think. They give you the opportunity to look at something that's blank and bring something out of it, create something, add something to it. I mean, there's all of that kind of critical thinking training that you need in order to do the algebras and understanding history and the science and all of that jazz. You know, you need to have that critical thinking.
I love it.
You know, one of the things Janice and I talk about all the time, in fact, it's one of the books she's writing, is this whole concept.
Oh, I meant to ask you, yeah, what is this book?
Well, she's writing a book on women in Roslindale. Be careful. But the one I wanted to talk about, a different one, is a color management thing where you give kids three paper plates, one with some blue paint, one with some red paint, and one with some white paint on it. Now you ask them to make just a little bit of each together. And they do it and they make purple, right? Now you ask one kid to get up and find the same color, the same hue, the same range of purple that he has on his or her plate. Now, because of the addition of white, that's virtually impossible for them to do.
Huh.
So when they walk around and they look at theirs and look at Johnny's, they look at theirs, they look at Susan's, they look at Kelly's, they look at theirs, eventually this look over their face comes that this is my purple.
Oh, I love that.
Once there's ownership, once the kid goes, this is mine. How do I do that with orange? You know, and the younger the kids are that you do that with, the sooner and the better and the greater their appreciation of what they can do, what they created.
Right. Well, with you around, I'm sure there will be art for all.
Well, as many as I can get to.
So, I'm wondering, what do you miss the most before all of this baloney went down?
People.
People? You see people all the time.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. I miss the standing in a room with 5 or 6 other musicians and playing as loud as you can.
And you're hosting like an event a week usually.
Yeah, and I miss that whole thing. I miss my justice of the peacing. You know.
Oh yeah, no weddings.
Yeah, no weddings. I miss that. I miss taking Becky out.
Oh, hi Becca. I'm sure she's watching.
A lot. She better be in her classroom. I miss that a lot. I miss, you know, Janice and I going off. You know, all of that jazz is missed, but it'll come back. And like I said, the reunion's going to be great.
Yes, I can't wait. I need to get better masks before that goes down. I don't have any cute ones, so I'm gonna have to get creative.
Oh, mine are in the car. I got groovy ones.
I bet you do. Look at your tie. Do you have masks that match your ties yet and your socks?
No. This is a tie Janice made for me.
I love that one. She does. What doesn't she do? She's amazing.
You're not going to get me to answer that question.
Hi, Rick wants to say hi.
Hey!
How are Bob and Larry?
Bob and Larry are doing great.
Those are Glenn's cats.
They wonder why I'm around so much.
Yeah, mine are. I can't tell if they hate it or they love it, but they're very needy lately. So what have you been doing anything for fun? Have you been watching any shows or playing any video games or anything?
You know, I tried the video game thing, but
I know.
You know, I've been watching 1984 Celtics playoff games. I've been watching the 94 Ryder Cup. You know, I've been, you know, after being here all day and going through, you know, a lot of the things that we're doing here, it's such high energy and stuff that sitting down and having dinner with Janice is great.
Aww.
You know, that's cool. And you know, and she cooks enough food for an army. And it's just the two of us and the cats.
Always.
So we're always packaging stuff up for Becky and Kwame, you know. So it's nice.
That's good though. I bet it's hard to go and watch TV after you've been making TV all day.
I don't mind that as much. I don't mind that as much because, like, you know, do I watch my stations? I'll tune in to see, make sure it's on the air, but you know, sometimes it's tough to do that. But you know, I catch up on some things. I like, believe it or not, I watch MSNBC, and Rachel Maddows is I like her, the way she delivers the story and stuff. And but that's it. You know, I don't get into all of the he said, she said stuff. You know.
Yeah, I've been trying to stay. What's to say? Aaliyah says, my mom talks about the 1984 playoff games to me all the time because that's when I was born and what she was watching much of the time. I was a newborn.
Wow.
That's before my time. But,
I was out of college. I don't know where I was.
Sixer, baby. So I do ask everyone who's on the broadcast because I think it's important to talk about to end sort of the stigma, and also I haven't mentioned it in a while. So this broadcast was started out of something that I needed to do for my mental health. I needed something to keep me going and excited and dressed and sane and, you know, like just engaged. And so this broadcast was born through all of this. So now I always ask everyone who's a guest what they have or have not been doing for their mental health during all of this.
Right. Well, one of the things that I always have to be careful of is getting too far inside my own head, you know. And so, not that it's a dark place, not that it's a dangerous place. It's just that I have a tendency to overthink things and work things out too much. So the more involved I am, if the pandemic had turned to where everybody has to stay home and you can't go to work and we're just going to wait it out, I'd have driven myself crazy.
Yeah.
You know? So I need to have that creative thing happening on a regular basis. I need to be involved in things that I find passion for. And so, I mean, that's part of the reason why I push the school thing, because I know that we need to get the programming out so that the kids are going to keep up.
Right, and that's a huge project.
Stuff. And it's very big. It's involved because there's two sides of it. There's our production part of it, us getting it onto the air, but there's also working with people who don't make videos and talking them through making videos. You know, so
it's not easy.
It's not easy, you know.
I've been doing that with my coworkers.
Yeah, so it's not easy. So we've been getting all of that done, and then on top of all that, we're up against the FCC. We're up against all kinds of different things with finances, and we're changing the way BNN is going to operate and do things. So it's, I mean, not for the membership. The membership's going to have, you know, it's going to go right back to being incredible. You know, but some of the organizational things we're doing have to make a little bit of a change. But if I wasn't involved in that kind of a level of thing, if I wasn't at home teaching a class, two or three classes a day, feeling a contribution, I think that I'd creak up and, you know, whatever, write a song a day, paint a painting a day. By then, and then I'd be, you know, I'd need some kind of stimulus.
I totally get it.
Stimulus.
You and I are very similar, where our typical answer for what we're doing for our mental health is work, because it keeps us busy.
We're being busy, which is important.
We love being busy, Glenn and I.
I do.
I do too.
Yes.
But I'm learning that it's okay to not be busy, and I'm coping with that.
Yes, yeah, you sounded doing these shows every day, doing videos for Madison.
I know. I was like, I need to do something. I don't know what it is, and then it's like, pandemic, Kelly is going to be a talk show host, and that will be good.
Be a talk show host. You know what I had fun doing? I had fun doing a live performance on Facebook.
Yeah, are you gonna do any more?
I don't know. It was fun. It was fun to do, but you know me. I said, "Oh, it sounded like this. This was I didn't."
The sound on and like this is never, especially with music, is never
Yeah.
going to be.
I mean, it's okay if you're telling stories and banging out guitar parts and stuff and just singing along, which is what I did, with the ukulele and stuff. And
no, we realized Zoom for Hibernian Hall where I work. We realized Zoom's sound
terrible.
Oh God. And there's really nothing we can do. Even if
I at least 3 of them a day, and it's like, eventually. I'm glad I got the blue lenses in my glasses because I'm at this.
Yes, that's very important.
It is.
Protect your eyes during this time.
Right.
Well, everyone, if you're new or you're not new, whatever, at the end of my cat is like so needy right now. At the end of every broadcast, I give the guests the opportunity to have the final word. So I shut up. I put on the cutest pair of sunglasses you've ever seen today. And it's the guest opportunity to say whatever they want, be inspirational, give shout outs, vent, share resources, dance, sing. I don't care what they do. I just sit here and I let it happen. So Glenn,
take
these off. It is your turn for the final word.
Thank you,
the
Kelly.
The floor is yours.
Well, thank you, Kelly. I think that what you're doing is an important element to bringing people out of what could possibly be a very dangerous and disturbing, environment inside their own homes. I mean, people are kind of locked in their homes, and they need these kind of outlets. We need these kind of programs that bring people out of themselves. Like, at least for me, it would be important. Like I was saying at the beginning of the broadcast, one of the most important things are our kids. And we're working on getting our kids to make sure that they're engaged in not just watching Tom and Jerry and not just, laying on the couch or whatever. I think that it's really, really important for them to be able to get some kind of stimulus, an emotional stimulus. And that's one of the things that we're trying to supply here at Boston Neighborhood Network. B&N is not an advertisement. It's not a commercial place. It's not some place that raises money. It's not some place that tells you what to do. It's a place where you can kind of go and hear from your neighbor and get the kind of programming that you don't get on the major networks around. I mean, there's no commercials. No one's coming in and selling you anything and all that jazz. But what there's a section. For you younger kids, there's a section called Goodnight Scholars. And what it is, it's bedtime stories being read by different people around the city. We have Julian Endelman from the Patriots, Devin McCourty. We have the mayor's done a bunch of them. We've had all kinds of people from across the educationals, Miss Massachusetts from 2012. But we got all of these people that have come on to read these bedtime stories.
Oh.
And it's the sweetest 5 or 6 minutes. They're usually sitting there with their kids and reading the story. Now, we don't do that for any other reason than it's a great opportunity for you to sit with your kids and watch somebody that you recognize on the TV reading a bedtime story that's really groovy. And it works because, like I said, the video on demand's for those. People are coming back and watching them over and over and over.
Aww.
So I think that checking out B&N is really important because that educational programming is going right along. We are scaffolding along with whatever the education's been doing. So if you're in 2nd or 3rd grade and you're doing that, and if you're in
my main audience.
Right. If you're in junior high school and you're about to go to a new high school next year, you should be listening to what's on there an hour ago, going over some math classes. You might have some questions. As far as how we're reacting outside to this, because I'm outside and I drive around a lot, I do see people hanging out without masks. And I see people hanging out in groups, and I look over at Fallon Field, and there's a bunch of dog walkers over there hanging out together without masks. And it's only going to prolong the issue here. The idea is to get as fewer numbers of people be getting sick as possible. I mean, when I get home, I have to hose down out in the yard and wash my hands. She yells at me right when I walk in the door, wash those hands. And, and I think it's important for us to pull together here. It's an opportunity for us to show how strong we are as a community. It's not going to go away. They open a beach in West Roxbury. Everyone from Roslindale goes to West Roxbury. That's going to be what kills it. We all have to pull ourselves together and kind of be like Janice. Janice is at home doing art, and that's kind of what we all have to do, Becky's at home teaching kids over the internet. Kelly's at home playing with us. I mean, it's important to be able to kind of carry that along and get out there and do something artful for yourself, break out some pens and papers and some paint. And you'll be surprised whether you think it looks great or not. You'll be surprised at how it makes you feel. So hang in there.
Those are great words. Do something artful. Please. Be more like Janice. No, I love it. Glenn, thank you. I know you are the busiest person.
Thank you. I always have time for Kelly Ransom. You can't be serious. I always have time.
The sweetest. I'm so grateful that you were on today and all the exciting things you've shared about BNN and all of your insight about art.
Thank you.
So thank you. I want to thank everyone who tuned in now or tuning in later. Thank you for liking, sharing, commenting, all that fun, beautiful, interactive stuff. Tomorrow, I'm calling it the season finale because I'm not doing any more shows for a while. And you won't find out what I'm doing until June 1st when I'm done with my break from work and everything else.
You're not going to
please join me for, I promise this will be the funniest thing you see at 12 o'clock tomorrow. Me and my friend Lauren Bunny Murphy, she is a nurse practitioner. She's an essential personnel. She is also an actress. So we are going to talk about a wide range of wild things. I hope you will tune in. Glenn, thank you again so much. I'm sure I will see you bopping around in the square.
Somewhere, yeah.
In a mask soon. Everyone, please stay home, stay safe, wash your hands, wear a mask, do whatever you need to do to remain healthy for you and your family. And do something artful today. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.